3, 2, 1, go!
Hey folks, Aaron here. Welcome back to an anime review. Yes, it's been like a month since I've done a review, but I figured that I want to kind of get back into it as much as I can. I did promise you guys in an earlier update video that I would try, keyword try, to do at least one anime review if it's not something brand new or something older every month, at least 1 or 2 videos at most I could do, because I really don't have a lot of free time. Recently with the quarantine stuff, I still don't have a lot of free time, so people forget that I'm what's considered essential worker, so I kind of have to work. I can't really, stay home, unfortunately, as much as I would love to. I did have a lot of times where I was home, and thankfully I was able to catch up on some anime that I missed out, but yeah, now I'm kind of getting back into the regular groove of things because my job is like, no, you gotta come in more often now, so anyways, besides that, so when this video comes out, it will be June 3rd, and that will be my 30th birthday. Believe it or not, I am turning 30. I've had some people say they can't believe I'm 30 years old. Thank you very much. That makes me feel very happy. But I have turned 30, so I figured, why not do an older anime review? And I asked many of you guys on Twitter, if you guys follow me, which you should follow me on Twitter. I have the link to that in the description box below. I asked, what show would you like me to do from an older series, because I felt like the mood to do it. That's kind of why I asked that question. And I asked this about maybe like a month ago, because I figured it would kind of coincide pretty well with, my birthday. And what I decided to do, from popular demand, was Ranma Half. So Ranma Half is a series that I have always liked and always forget most of it. Ironically, I kid you not. It's a series that I had to look up. Like, even right now, I have on my phone the wiki page only because I have to remember the character names. I remember the story. I remember the general plot of it. I don't remember the names. Like, I forgot his last name was Satome, I think, or Satome. I completely forgot that. I know, for example, I know Studio Dean did Ranma, which, believe it or not, Studio Dean was back in the 80s. This is like 89 when Ranma first came out. And by the way, I'm just going to call it Ranma because Ranma Half always makes me kind of a hard thing to say in an actual sentence. I don't know why. I always want to say 1/2, or, because technically it's half of one, but I digress. So, in case you guys have never heard of Ranma, which, believe it or not, many people have not. It's an older show. Again, it came out 89. I wasn't even born yet in 89, okay? I might be 30, but I was born a year later, okay? Besides that, though, Ranma was a series I grew up with after it was already kind of going. I mean, I think when I first watched it, it was already basically done when I first started even seeing it. And back then, it was a little hard to watch it because it wasn't a show that you would find easily available. Like, if they had VHS tapes and they were released, obviously, you can find. I want to believe most of Ranma you can find, like, Blockbuster. If people remember what Blockbuster was. But you can find most of it out there, and then after that, it was very hard to find. But anyway, Studio Dean did Ranma Half, and it was about, I want to say, like 150 episodes. You don't count the first like 18 episodes, and then the next part of it's like 143. There's also like several dozen movies. We're going to focus on the main primary series. I don't want to go into like all the extra stuff because there are multitude. There's a manga, obviously. There's multiple movies, like I just said. I don't want to do that. That's going to take me forever. So Ranma, if you've never heard of it, the main premise is simple. It's very outlandish for what came out, by the way. It's done by the guy who made Inuyasha, just in case you guys didn't know that. So Ranma and his father end up going to the mountains because Ranma is a person who wants to really train himself. He wants to be a martial artist, and he's heard that these mountains are going to be a good way for him to kind of get closer to himself and learn how to just fight better. He goes up to the mountains and falls with his father into cursed springs. Now, these cursed springs have a very strange curse where you take on the spirit/soul or being of whatever last died there. So Ranma's father ends up becoming like a panda when he falls in one of the cursed springs, and Ranma ends up falling in one of the cursed springs that had a woman fall into it. So, yes, Ranma, believe it or not, besides being a martial arts show in the 80s, remember 89, which was a very interesting year for that, was also a gender bender. And that's a very odd statement because gender benders were not very popular till like the middle of 2000s, I think, when they started getting kind of revved up on there. Before then, it was a weird thing, like there were some series that did it beside Ranma, but Ranma was like the first major mainstream series that actually did gender bender stuff, and it did it successfully. So the whole point now of the show is Ranma is now trying to figure out how to kind of change back, and very early on he finds out that he could change back using hot water, because anytime he gets hit with cold water, he turns to a girl. Anytime he's hit with hot water, he turns into a boy back to his original self. But the problem is that obviously there's a lot of situations where you can get hit with cold water. You can rain. You can get, someone plays a prank on you. And so he's trying to figure out the whole series. Like, the main premise of it is he's trying to figure a way to get rid of this curse from him. And at the same time, he's dealing with a whole slew of girls that are supposed to be his potential fiancés. And all these other martial arts things that he has to deal with, like school martial arts tournaments and stuff like that. It's a series that has always been, to me, very before its time. Because Ranma did stuff that you didn't see very often. You did the gender bender stuff. Only a few series ever did that before, and it was usually always a kind of a joke, and you would only see What's a Blue Moon. And Ranma's main premise is that gender bender aspect is like the whole thing. I mean, even the martial arts stuff takes kind of a backseat many times because the whole running gag is him getting splashed or doused with water and turning it back and forth between a girl and a guy. I mean, half the comedy of Ranma is that. There are moments where he'll be hitting on a girl that's, one of his fiancées and stuff, and just trying to talk to her, and all of a sudden, bam, he gets hit with some water, and now he's trying to figure out, what am I going to do? He doesn't want to get caught. So, he starts balancing that, he starts juggling too, because, people start seeing him in both forms, and they're going, who's who? I think, if I remember correctly, a few people do find out a secret thing, but I don't remember exactly how many. And that's where Ranma, to me, has always fallen to the wayside, because as much as I liked Ranma, I really do enjoy Ranma. I always think it's a great classic series. I actually recommend it to people who love Inuyasha and have never seen it. I also recommend it to people who love martial arts, comedy type series. Like, if you like Dragon Ball Z but want a kind of dumber version of it, and I don't say that in a negative tone because it sounds like it when you say, dumber version, but if you want a series that tries to be less serious, that's probably the best way I could put it, the best connotation I could put it. If you want a series that's not trying to be overly serious, like the martial arts in Ranma is pretty good. There's some really nice fights, but none of them are really super serious. You're not going to get like Baki level stuff. You're not going to get Hajime no Ippo type fights. You're not going to get any of that. You'll get classical like Inuyasha-esque fights where, sometimes you'll be like, oh, shoo, wow, I can't believe that happened. And then times you'll be like, Ranma will be fighting and then someone will throw some water on him and he'll have to figure out now how to, not be in girl form when he's fighting someone who just saw him a second ago as male. It's stuff like that. And the panda aspect of his father, that's the same kind of concept. Like, that's a running joke with it. Like, he's a panda, and then he's also a human. Ranma is definitely a show that hasn't aged well, I think, in terms of, will it be popular in this generation? Yeah, hit or miss, because I've talked to people who try to watch Ranma, and, after I recommended it, and I've heard mixed things. Some people love it, some people hate it. I think what Ranma's love for it is if you watched older anime, back in the 80s and 90s, you will appreciate the humor. Like, there's a lot of slapstick humor. There's a lot of ecchi back then. Like, I mean, kid you not, there are scenes where Ranma is like half naked, and it's never, it's never they don't try to really hide it per se. And that's the comedy aspect of it, because like nowadays they do it a little bit where they hide it a little more, or they do it full blown. They don't really play the middle ground. Ranma tries to be this thing where it's trying to avoid being controversial, because again, gender bender, that already by itself is a controversial thing in the late 80s. But Ranma, for people who don't watch older series, watch it now and probably go, what the heck is this? I mean, you see an art style that's very older style. It's not a series that really... Studio Dean did a great job back then. I mean, if you watch some of the older stuff, it looks incredible. Like, especially some of the character models are beautiful. I love Ranma's character. I think it's really nice how they gave him a very Chinese authentic look to him, and it comes off really nice. But in terms of like how stuff is nowadays, it's very old. It has that older thing to it. So I almost want to give it a split review. Like, I almost thought of doing a thing where I give it 2 grades, because I'm like, for people older audiences like myself, you'll probably give it a high score. Like, for me personally, if I had a grade Ranma 1 through 10, I'd give it a solid 8.5. Like, I would put it almost like a B plus type territory, because I really enjoy it. It's something I can go back and rewatch and be like, yo, this is funny. I loved all the skits where like he's running around and like they splash water on him and just 2 seconds later he's a girl, because they did it sometimes so abruptly. Like, you didn't see it coming until it happened, where all of a sudden some guy was like, oh, water, and then that would happen. Or he would walk into a situation where he's trying to show it's like, male self, and then boom, he's a girl now. And it was always funny because Ranma's character always had to kind of diverge between both being a male and female. And he started getting used to being like both, like where he would at times be very conflicted, especially early in the series. He was very conflicted being a female, and then as the series progresses, he got used to being a female more quite often, where he was like just I can put on the voice. Like I think he even tries to do something girly with his voice at one point. I forgot that's one thing. I forgot who voiced a lot of the characters in Ranma, which I should have looked up prior to doing this review. But I remember if any of you guys know in the comments below, let me know. I do know some of them were more famous people that you still hear in a lot of anime nowadays, and then some are completely gone. Like that's Studio Dean was always kind of known for having voice actors that either were really popular or really just kind of just there. But Ranma, if again, like if I'm talking to an older audience, for me personally, I would say it's a B plus. It's a great show. You know, the story is not meant to be very serious. Like it's not a very serious. It's not Inuyasha level serious where you have people that are dying left and right, and you know there is some drama in Ranma, especially that actually just rhymed. I think about drama Ranma. There is some drama in Ranma. That's a very hard thing to say. I just realized that. But it comes off as never being so dramatic that it makes the series overly dramatic, if that makes sense. Like, put it this way, in Inuyasha, when, like, you know, for example, the main character in Inuyasha, when he's trying to save Kagome from a really dire situation, and he's trying to fight Sesshomaru or anything like that, those moments are epic. There, you know, there are times where you really care about what's going to happen next. You know, there's really times where you're like, oh my god, I don't know what will happen. I don't know who will win. I don't know if someone's going to get hurt. Ranma kind of doesn't happen. Like, you have people getting hurt, obviously, in fights and stuff like that, but you never have them so debilitated. You never have anything, you know, over serious. It's really supposed to be, I think, a kind of jokey anime, even though there is some drama in it. So, it's one of those shows that if you grew up watching the 90s type anime, you'll find it like, oh, I can get into this really easy with no problem. If, however, you are someone who grew up in like the 2000s watching anime, this is where Ranma kind of dips, where I've noticed a lot of people, especially if you were not someone who've watched older anime at all, you're not going to enjoy Ranma that much. It's going to be very dated to you. So that's why I think in that sense, you'll probably give it like a C plus at highest, because as cool as the character is, as funny as some of the slapstick humor is, because there's a lot of slapstick. I mean, people get hit in the head. Ranma quite often hits people, and it's just kind of hilarious. His dad does weird stuff as a panda, which I remember one scene in particular, like when he turns into a panda, he like tries to scare someone by running after them, even though he knows that they're not actually like he's not trying to actually hurt them, but he's like running after them. Think about that nowadays. Like if they did that same scene, you would think, oh god, it's like corny. It's almost on the nose corny. Nowadays it's like that, but back then that was fine. That was like the typical stuff. You know, you had that slapstick humor almost of anime. You know, it's not that unheard of. So, if you're a fan of Ranma, please let me know in the comments below, because I do want to talk about it more. I actually need to rewatch Ranma. I should do that like soon, probably. I know that it is easily available to find on DVD. I think that you can still find it in many places. I would suggest probably picking it up sooner than later, though, because I think Ranma is going to be probably very hard to find one day. Like, I feel that that's a series that will eventually just disappear. By the way, in case you guys didn't know, so I had originally a boom mic. I don't know how this is going to sound. Sorry if that you hear that noise. I lost my boom mic. It actually broke on me. The part of it snapped. It was old. So I got it like 2 or 3 years ago, and it was like $15. So I'm not really surprised by it. You know, after you keep turning it over and over again, moving around, it's bound to break. So I got this filter. Hopefully it sounds good. I'm gonna have to probably listen back to it, but for now, no matter how it sounds, I'm gonna leave it the way it is. So let me know in the comments below if you guys liked it. If you're not, I'll have to figure out. I'll probably get a new boom mic, whatever. I'll figure out something with that. Anyways, guys, if you want me to review anything older, let me know in the comments below. I also could look at that up too and see some older shows. I have a lot I've seen, so it wouldn't be too bad. If I tell you no, or if I tell you look at one of my reviews, it's probably because I did it already, obviously. So don't feel too bad. I had people on Twitter telling me to review tons of shows, all of which I saw already, and I've reviewed. Obviously, I had someone mentioned Claymore, and I was like, I reviewed Claymore already. But anyways, I'll talk to you guys later. God bless you all. Have a wonderful day. Take care, everyone. Talk to you soon. Bye.